Welcome. I'm running a little bit late. I didn't get a chance to do my hair or my makeup, but that's okay because I am here. Give me just a minute. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. I realized after I turned it on that I didn't have my tablet out here, and I use my tablet for the so I use my tablet so I can watch it on here. Let's see. Oh, neat, Aaron. Sorry, I was looking at some of this. Try not to get distracted, but it happens. Oh, and I don't have my light in the right place either. Man, I am a mess today. Well, I'm waiting for that to come in. Let me move my light in. Oh. Okay. Well, hello. Thank you for joining me. I'm a little bit late coming on, but I'm getting there. I am getting there. Today we are on quilt block number 3. Oh gosh, I'm a mess. Look at my hair. Ugh. Wonder if I should just put it back. What do you think? Just put it back and not worry about it? Okay, that's what we're gonna do. Hopefully it doesn't look too bad. Let's see. Let me take a little closer look. Sorry for whoever's got their face right at the camera. Okay. It's not gorgeous, but it'll do. Okay. And now I just realized I don't have my other ones with me either. Okay, so you should have 4 of everything. Oh, my hair. Okay, 4 of everything. You should have 4 2-inch, 4 3.5-inch, and 4 of each of the 5-inch. Okay, now I did not square up my block last night, so this is the one thing I did find that I was having the most trouble with because the block was not actually square by the time I was done. Let me get this out of the way just so I can see better. Okay, looks like we're going to have some connection issues today, so we're going to keep our fingers crossed that goes away quickly. All right, let's see here. I need to do some quick cuts because I just realized I don't have my I don't have all my squares cut. If you can look in the back on the wall over here, this is the block that we're going to do today. It is called, of course I had to modify it because I wanted to do it in a 12-inch square, and this is actually set up as a rectangular block. So let me show you what the pattern would look like if you had done the whole thing like this, okay? So that is from Jelly Roll Quilts in a Weekend. And we're just kind of borrowing patterns from that book. And I'm modifying them a little bit to accommodate the jelly roll that we are working on. Okay, so this will be quick. So what I've done is I put down two sets folded in half of my accent color because that's the one I don't have right now. And normally I have all this cut, but I don't know. I got it cut and I thought, oh, I'm done. And I walked away. Ta-da, guess what? I'm not done. All right, so I'm going to take my ruler and my cutter. I'm going to trim off the edge. I'm actually going to trim off quite a bit. And this will go very quickly because I've got 4 layers, so I've got all 4 that I need right here. So let me just go ahead. We need 4 2-inches, 4 3.5s, and I can flip this over and use the back side. So I'm doing 1 2 3 and a half. I got half on one end and a whole on the other end. Okay, and flip it over. That goes with that one. Flip it over, and now we need 5-inch. go all the way through. I don't know why. I don't know why I swallowed the fly. Okay, let me iron this down real quick because it seems to want to roll over. I swear I have a hair under my shirt and it's driving me absolutely crazy. Can't tell, May is in the pool and she is having a blast. Okay, so let's get this out of the way. And since I cut from the end, I still have on my Jelly Roll 2.5 inch strip, accent strip, I still have a whole strip left, which is kind of nice. Hey Bella, how you doing today, sweetie? How is the mask making going? I worked on a few for a friend last night. I'm telling you what, I'm happy to make the mask to help out, you know, the Joann's thing. But when it comes to just sitting down and doing it, I swear 6 masks took me all day long. And I mean, from the beginning of the morning to the evening with a few breaks in between. Because of course I had to make dinner and everything. And of course I had these quilt sessions that we're doing as well. All right, so let me get this stuff out of the way. So you now have your color to go with your accent, your 3.5 with your 3.5, your 5 inch with your 2 inch. So this is how that works. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to line these up. Go ahead and start with the 2 inches. Lay it out so you know right side up, wrong side up, that kind of thing. So lay your accent fabric right sides up. Darn it, it's so sneaky. Right side, wrong side. Sometimes you just can't tell. Okay, then you're going to take your 4, actually I have 8 here. Oh well. 1, 2, 3, 4. We only need 4. Okay, so I actually have enough to make 2 more blocks. So I didn't need that many. I needed 4 of one, 4 of another, 4 of another. I have 4 of each. I have 4 of each. Okay. I swear I'm losing my mind. I'll figure it out in a minute. Okay, so you're just going to lay these on there. One of everything? One of everything. Oh, I do need 4 of each. Because I got 4 blocks. You don't want them all the same. That one fit better. Nope. I know a couple of these are longer. And then I'll just use another color. Okay. All right, then we're going to stitch all those together. I'm going to check this 1/4 of an inch seam because I'm thinking maybe it is not 1/4 of an inch. And it is not. It's like 1/8 of an inch. Holy cow. No wonder that thing was so big. All right, let me change this out real quick. Wow. It's either that or I'm just really bad at measuring. Yeah, that's not what I thought it was. Hold on a second. Here, come join me. Hopefully, yep, you run right into it. Got my camera, my lights over too far. Wow, I'm batting 1,000 a day, y'all. Just one of those days, I think. And I'm thirsty. I spent a lot of time on my on work today. I spent a lot of time doing a lot of office work today, so my brain is still on office work. Okay, So this is a really good lesson to remember to check your 1/4 of an inch and make sure your foot is giving you a proper 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to show you the difference. So this is the difference between one foot and the other foot. I don't know if you can see it, but that's a huge chunk. And when you're trying to make it consistently all the same, so you want every block to be exactly 12.5 inches, it does not work out right. So make sure you're checking. They are flying out the door along with the air savers. And what's an air saver? And the surgical hats. I delivered over 60 savers today. Ear savers, the headbands with the buttons on them. Oh yeah, okay, ear savers, got it. And over 20 masks, and I mailed out a whole crap load of surgical caps to Miami. Oh, that's wonderful, Bella, sorry. Y'all, I do not purposely call her the wrong name because she was always Mel to me. And so I'm having a hard time not using that name. Bella, that's amazing. Oh my gosh. And here I am complaining about trying to make 6. I'm not complaining, honestly. I am lamenting at how bad I am at it. And I do the ones that are kind of the fitted mask, and they're really hard to, I mean, you really have to pay attention to what you're doing. Last night I cut one wrong, and then I had to go back and fix it, and it was, you know, and these are things you want to fit right. You want them to fit right for the person that you're making them for. So I had to make sure I go back and make it right. Okay, so right now we're putting the 2 inches on top of the 5-inch strip. And if you go back and measure each one after you're done, this strip should be 6.5 inches long with the 2 pieces put together. And every single strip that we're fixing to do should be 2.5 inches long. I'm sorry. I'm going back to bed. That's it. I've had it. It should be 6.5 inches long. Each strip should be 6.5 inches long. All right, let's see here. Now, because of the way that we're making them, they do not have to be ironed open. Because, gratefully, my pants are a little big right now. That's kind of nice. Of course, it could just be because I bought bigger ones. Who knows? Okay, so let me get this ironed down real quick. And then we're going to check it. But yeah, that would definitely explain why that block I did. If you notice, if you can see the block on the wall, let me get it for you. If you can see the block on the wall, I actually trimmed it down to make it square. So this side is definitely smaller than that side, and this side is smaller than that side because I had to trim it down to a 12.5 inch block. Anyways, so that is the one we're working on right now. Okay. Did I catch that? Nope, I didn't. I thought that was felt a little bit thin. Sorry guys, give me just a second. Okay, there we go. Voila. Okay, so let me just run a quick ruler over it, and I'm only slightly larger than 6.5 inches. And it's my white that's a little bit big, so I could go ahead and trim it off of each one. Actually, let me pull this off so I can see. That was marked for something else that I was working on. Actually, it was, I'm sorry. I swear, today's going to be one of those days. Y'all are just going to have to forgive me because I'm a mess. And I don't even know why. Other than I was busy working on treasury stuff, which sometimes can get me a little discombobulated. Okay, so we're going to set this aside. Now, you should have all 4 of the colored ones done. Just set them aside, and then we're going to put them together in a few minutes. So, because I have 3 colors that I'm working with, not 4, what I'm going to do is when I go back and do the next batch, I'm going to pick another one to duplicate, but not this one. Since I already have 2 of that one, I'll pick a different one to duplicate. Okay, let me drag this thing over here. Hey Valentina, how are you? Miss Janice, good to have you back on. I thought this would be at 1 my time, so I'm late. No, don't worry about it, Connie. You're doing good. I really haven't gotten very far. Hopefully everybody saw the cutout instructions and have everything already cut out. You're actually doing good because I am running a little bit late because I missed a section of my cutout, of my very own cutout instructions. Okay. Now, so we know we only need 1 of these. And let's go ahead and do 2 of these. Now, this is for me because I'm only using 3 colors. You guys should have, with a jelly roll, you should have lots of colors to pick from. So each one should or could be a different color. So please feel free to use a different color. All right, let's get those out of the way. And we're going to remove that out of the way so I don't burn myself, because that would definitely be right up my alley today. I seem to keep messing things up. So you're going to take 4 of your... Make sure you lay them right sides up, and do it the same way every time so that you don't mess up. That is one thing that I have tried to be a mantra for me, is to make sure I always do everything the same way. Even when I pick up my scissors, I pick them up the same way. I pick them up with this piece right here in my thumb. And that way I always know that if I have a curved pair, the curved is always curving away from me, not towards me. So try to get into a habit of certain patterns. I know when I was in banking, I definitely made sure that I had a procedure for everything, and I did everything a certain way, and it helped to protect me from making mistakes. Not that I didn't already make them, because there were times I looked back and thought, what was I thinking? Okay, and so we're going to lay all those down, and my plan is to stitch at the top of each section, which would be your bottom. Okay, so let's take this over here. We're going to do all 4 at one time. Now, if you're doing a bunch of these at one time, you can usually sew together your jelly rolls, the 42-inch long jelly roll pieces. You can usually sew them all together, down the whole strip, and then just cut, you know, your sections, you know. So it can work a lot better that way when you're doing multiples. Actually, for this pattern, I'm not sure that would even work. But that's what I like to do. I like to do strip piecing, where I can get as much bulk done at one time, as opposed to cutting each piece apart and then stitching it together. Especially if you're talking a lot of like the 4 patches or the 9 patch. You can get a lot of that work done ahead of time just by stitching together whole strips of fabric and then cutting them apart once they're already stitched together. You're like saving yourself a ton of time. Okay, so let's go ahead and iron this. So I already have tomorrow's picked out, but I know I've said this before, I really like to do the pattern first to see how it's going to work up. And this is how I found out that I had made a mismeasurement last night, was when I started putting together. I had 1 long strip. The strip in the middle was the right size, but the 2 on the outside were about 1/2 inch short, because I had misfigured in some of the seam allowance. But I should probably show you my little design paper where I go in and kind of draw it out to see what I need and how it's going to look. Because again, this pattern is actually a very long rectangular, square rectangular design that you put together. And I'll show that to you one more time. Hang on. See, that's what happens when you don't iron properly. You get little crinkles. My iron loves to crinkle my fabric. All right, and we are down to the last one. And I am pressing all of these to the dark side because there really isn't any bulk on this. Okay. Stack these up, get these out of the way, and then we're going to put them together in just a moment. But let's finish up that last piece that we need to do. Roll over, play dead. Come on. Work with me here. Okay. All right. Last ones. We're going to take two of the really dark ones. And like I said, you can use a different color on every single one because your jelly roll should have a different, like, 12, at least 12 different designs within that jelly roll. Some will have 10 or whatever. You know, you can duplicate. It's okay. You don't have to worry about that. All right. Okay, so take your short one, and you're going to put this with your long color. And again, you're going to want to put this, try to find your upside. Okay. You know, I don't really have a hard time with scents. I like things that smell, but when it comes to my pressing, my starch, I prefer unscented. I'm going to tell you what, I feel like I have practically drank a whole bottle of that stuff through my nose at one time or another. All right, let's see here. Okay. Sometimes these whites, it's really hard to see. Okay, there's one. And again, with batiks, you're kind of safe because even though there is a right and a wrong side, man, these whites are so wide. Even though there is a right and a wrong side, if you got it on the wrong side, it'd be okay because they're really, really dark both ways around. I'm sorry you guys have to see my messy ironing section back there. I tend to make a huge mess everywhere, not just in my sewing room. You should see the kitchen. If it wasn't for the fact that the person that cooks doesn't have to clean, we'd all be in trouble. I'd be buying new pots and pans every day just because I didn't want to wash them. All right, so now we're going to take this last section and we're going to sew those all together. And here's where you can do a little bit of that stitch piecing. Or stitch, good Lord. String piecing. String piecing. Uh-oh, suddenly I forgot the word. Sew them all one time. All right, we're getting down to the last one. By the time we are done, at least with 12, I mean, you are welcome to stop at 12. I think I might go on to about 20, just because I like to make it a little bit bigger. And it's yeah, I'm planning on it being a baby blanket for my homie. When I say homie, I mean my daughter Taylor. Cute story about homie. The reason we call her homie is not because she's like, you know, our homie, which she is, but when she was little, she would look up at you and she almost, it's like her feet never hit the floor. And when they did, she would raise her arms in the air and say, homie, homie. So her dad, who loved to tease her, would say, your name is Homie? So, and we got a lot of little ones like that. Like, why Nicole is nicknamed Nickel Pickle in our house. And Ashley, my sweetie, is, Sunshine. She's Sunshine. And then Rachel is Wojo's, or was Wojo's. We don't call her that anymore, because that was a child's name, and she's no longer a child. She informed us of that when she turned 15. Isn't that neat? The child grows an opinion on what her name should be. Okay, and then Thomas, my sweet, sweet Thomas, was Thomas Wamas. Of course, he's in the military now, so we do not call him Thomas Wamas. So that is just about everybody's, all of my children's fun little nicknames. Please don't tell them I told you. because they will not like me for it. They will not appreciate my candor. Okay. My eye is not running today because I don't have mascara on yet. I did not get to it today. Okay, so here's what we're going to do next. Next, we are going to go ahead and line them up. So make yourself a nice little spot. And now would be a good time to trim them down. So if you know you're going to need to trim them, go ahead and take care of that right now. I can see right here where some of this one is a little messed up, but I'm going to go ahead and stitch it together anyways. Yep, I'm not going to worry about it. Not going to worry about it. Okay. Let me get these out of the way. And again, save all your scraps because either one, if you don't use it, you can do it in a scrappy quilt. And if you do need just a small piece because you've messed something up, then you have little pieces off to the side. All right, so let's lay this out like this. Okay, now you're going to take your medium fabric and you're going to lay it in there. Trying to make sure you put can't put that one there, can't put that one there, can't put that one there. That one there, can't put that there. We'll put that there. Sometimes it takes a moment before you get the color you really want or the look you want. And take your time. Don't rush through this, you know. Just kind of look at what you've got, what it looks like, and decide if it's what you want. And if you see any obvious signs of where your stitching or your fabric decided to do its own thing, just go ahead and trim it off. You know, don't fight with it underneath the needle. Lord knows I do that enough. And I think for whatever reason the accent fabric I have is just slightly wider than my jelly roll. And remember we talked about that. The jelly rolls are not always right on accurate. So please feel free to recheck it and trim off whatever needs to be trimmed off. It looks like pretty much all of mine needed to be trimmed off. Okay, looks a little better. All right, and then put down that last section. And again, you're going to want to mix it up. Put some solids with some colors, you know, that kind of thing. Don't go crazy. Don't worry about it. Just get it on there. And sometimes it's just best to put it all into a pile and just pull pieces out and start throwing them down. All right, so the trick to this is when you start to stitch these together, again, you want to do these all the same direction, okay? Don't get them backwards. So if you've got large, medium, small, then do your next one, large, medium, small. And again, sew them all the same way. If you start sewing with the white fabric first, then do that for all of them, okay? Because this is going to be important to this design. All of these squares, if you look at it, they are all in the same direction. If you were to turn them all in the right way, they would all be in the same direction, okay? All right. Oh, and I lost my Facebook. Hang on. Make sure that's good. Alrighty, let's go over here and go ahead and start stitching it down. You know what? I'm going to get a little bit closer, and that way you can see what I'm doing. Not that you guys aren't really fabulous at this. So when we are done here, Sun, Moon, and Auctions has an auction, and Dana, or Dawn, Dana's her husband, Dawn has been doing some beautiful purses lately. I mean, good stuff. Pretty nice. The Agner, I saw Agner, Liz Claiborne, just some beautiful pieces. Okay, so here's what I do. I get the first one going. Now you can stop and sew each one of these, but here's what I'm going to do. I take this one out. Find the next piece, put it on, kind of like this. Sorry, I guess because I'm all kind of blowed up there. I'm going to put this on here. And you can pin if you want to. There's nothing wrong with pinning. I'm stitching this down. I'm going to stop and I'm going to grab my next two pieces. Here are my next two pieces. That's for my next block. Now that block is finished and I started on this block. So I'm going to, now you could go back and do all of your one sides first and then go back, open it up. I do it this way because then I don't get mixed up with which blocks I'm working with. So I know that's my first block and it's done. I'm going to take this off, open this up, and I'm going to grab the last part of the block, which I see I'm going to do a bad thing here and just eyeball this cut real quick. Like I said, some of my my white jelly roll is actually a little bit too big. And I'm going to throw this piece on here. And I'm going to go ahead and leave that one attached because at least I know that that block is done. I'm going to stitch this down. Okay, block 2 is done. Now I'm going to start on block 3. Put the little one and the medium one together. And again, you can do the larger one on the medium. Just don't do the short one and the big one, the long one, the medium. Short one or the long one together because they don't go together ever until you're ready to put the block together. You know what? This is coming up a little bit shy. I wonder, hang on a second. Come on, work with me. No, it's in there. Okay. I'm just going to keep on going somewhere. I'm going to try and ease that in there. If you do too much, you're going to run the risk of making it pucker. So you can ease a little bit in, but don't try to use too much. So we're going to open that up. And as you can see, that's the medium side. We're just going to go ahead and add the long one. The long, when I say the long, I'm talking about the colored fabric is long. I'm just going to match it up best as I can. Go ahead and trim that off. Oh. I'm sorry, guys. Seriously, I am so discombobulated today, I can't even tell you. Not even sure why. Okay. Get this in here. Now once we're done sewing all these together, then we can go ahead and iron them. Let me take a minute and read my comments here. So yes, I am so late. Work sucks. Hey, Ms. Jeannie. No, I get ya. I understand completely. So right now we're just kind of combining everything. And please feel free. I save these, so you should be able to pull them up at any time. So if you miss what we're working on right now, don't you worry. Just jump on to the video after it's done, and you should be able to watch the whole thing. So what we did is we took 4 different colors of the 2 inches and put them with your accent of your 5-inch color. Then we did that with, you have your 2 3.5-inch pieces, 1 accent color and 4 accent colors and 4 jelly rolls. Put those together, and each one should come to, by the time you're done stitching, it should be 6.5 inches long, unless you're me. And it doesn't work out that way for me because for some reason I am jinxed today. I don't know why. I swallowed the fly, sorry. Stupid little songs pop in my head about the time I start talking. But they should all match up, and by the time you're done putting the 3 together, your square should be 6.5 inches. And I would say before you go another step after that, make sure that you're measuring those squares and trimming them down to 6.5 inches because that will make the end result a whole lot nicer. Okay? All right. So here's what we look like. And this is without squaring it up, without ironing it. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the iron over here, a trusty little iron that I probably need to keep very far away from me today. Fortunately, I have not cut myself today, so that is always nice. So when it comes to fabric choices, what should we be doing? I see you're mixing batiks with other fabrics. Yes, I do that a lot. I'm not a real big, I want to say snob, but that's kind of what comes to my mind. I'm not a real big fabric snob. To me, I mean, whatever looks good with something else, I go for it. I don't really concern myself with, you know, making sure this looks good with this and this looks good with this. And maybe it's just my time as a poor stitcher when I didn't have the money to make sure all my fabric matched. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But I don't have a problem with it. Some people do. Now, what you should be working with is, the idea is that this is a jelly roll. And that you're using these 2.5 inch strips to make these blocks that we're doing, okay? And if you don't have, you know, a jelly roll, then you just take some of your fabric and you cut them into 2.5 inch strips. If you can do it by width of fabric, it's even better. But sometimes you don't have that and you've got maybe fat quarters or, you know, half yard cuts or even yard cuts. But cut everything to a 2.5 inch strip. And from there you can cut what you need to make your jelly roll-ish. But that's basically what all this is about. This is all jelly roll. I've taken some patterns that I found that are jelly roll patterns and modified them so that they'll fit, you know, the criteria that we're working with, which is a 12.5 inch block when we're finished. Which when it is finished, when the block is finished, it will actually be a 12 inch block. So the first stopping point is we can go 12 blocks, which would make it, you know, 36 by 48, and then you can add some borders and edgings and whatever you'd like to with that. And then I'm thinking I'm going to go a little bit further. I think I'm going to do 20 blocks, 4 across and 5 down, and then add the borders and the edgings and stuff. I just decided that for this one, the one that I'm going to do with you on camera, I'm using this. Just some batiks that I've been messing around with. And the one I'm doing for my daughter is the one you see on the wall. These right here are for my daughter, for the baby quilt that I have to make for her. Well, I don't have to make it, but I am. But I am making it because that's what moms do. They make quilts or layettes or whatever it is that us moms like to do. Isn't that right? Okay, so this should be coming up at about 1 1/4. Yep. It is slightly off. Let me turn it just a little bit here. Well, no, not really. Just a little bit. Let's trim this piece just a little bit. Turn it. There we go. Okay, where's my... Man, I can feel the heat on that iron. Ugh. And it's not even turned up all the way either. Let's see. I love that baby ironing board. Isn't that cute, Jeannie? I got that at a, I think my Quilt Expo in 2018. And I fell in love with it. I saw them. I thought, oh, they're so cute. And they're so handy, too. You just bring them in, pull them out, you know. That's if I can keep track of it because I'm terrible at keeping track at it. No Baby Shark song. Please, I don't want to have that rolling around in my head. I beg of you. No Baby Shark songs. Because then you'll get May doing it, and it'll be around the house all day long. Okay. Again, love my Quilter Select ruler because all I have to do is drag it away when I'm done trimming. And it gets away from my little taggy pieces that come off of my quilts. I do not sell it, so this is not a plug for me to sell stuff to you for these. There's a lot of things I talk about them because oftentimes we don't know you know, what people think of other items. And this gives me an opportunity to tell you what I think of this or what I think of that. Like my circle back here. My daughter talked me into buying one of those. I love them. I think it's great. I love to drink water, but sometimes I do want something that is just a little bit different. You know, it has a little flavor to it. And so those have like a little flavor packet in the throat. And it's a little flavor packet right here. And I can dial in how much flavor I want. If I want a lot of flavor in my water or just a little bit of flavor. Now again, Circle is not paying me to say that. I just know that sometimes we rely on our friends and family to give us recommendations on things that are good. So I love the Ginger rotary cutter. I found a lot of rotary cutters that I do like, but that one is my favorite. And I dropped my page again. Let me get me back up here. So I love that rotary cutter. I love my little ironing board. I don't even know if I could find her business card anymore. And as far as the rulers, I know some people do not care for these rulers. I think because of the way it grabs the fabric, but that is exactly why I love this ruler. Because it grabs the fabric and I don't have to struggle trying to get it lined up. This one is almost perfect. Almost perfect on that side. But yes, take the time to measure this out and cut and make it look pretty. Because when you're done and it all matches up, it's like, you know, like you just take a deep breath. I love, oh yeah, got that one. Okay. Sorry, y'all. Sometimes I'll even go back after these sessions are over and read the comments so that if I miss something, I know to comment on it. So if after, you know, it's all over and you're wondering why I'm sending you a message, that's it, because I've read through it and I feel like I probably missed talking to you, and that irritates me. I want to make sure I have an opportunity to talk to everybody if I can. Alrighty. This will only take me another minute. So does anybody have speaking of recommendations, does anybody have a favorite show they like to watch? We're all stuck indoors and I love Bones. I have probably seen every episode at least 3 times, which I could always watch it again. I love Bones. And let's see what else. Ghost Whisperer, another one I just love. Love Ghost Whisperer. But I would love to have a recommendation on something else that's, one, clean. I've been watching Avenue 5 and I have to cringe through parts of it, but it's so funny. It's so stinking funny. Hugh Laurie is just hilarious. But there's a lot of cussing in that, and I'm not big on cussing. Bits and Pieces has ooh, do they? Were they the ones that were selling this, Miss Janice? Janice is saying that Bits and Pieces over there in Bradenton? Yeah, sells these boards. Was she the one that was selling them at that the 2018 Do Floppy Expo? I'm telling you, I'm really having trouble with my words today. Use your words, Robin. All right, last one. No. Okay. All right. Well, it was a good thought. But anyways, I love that. And I don't know if you can see my ironing board back here, but it actually goes the full length of this. Now, Miss Sheila showed me hers, and she had hers with the cubbies in it. So I immediately, of course, went out and bought cubbies. Thank goodness my husband let me. But the ironing board top was something that I got from Inspire. Oh, I hope I said that right. Over there in Plant City, where we have our Strawberry Festival. Over in Plant City, I got I think their name is Inspire. Anyways, I love that little quilt shop. It's so cute, and she has a lot of fabric in it too. But she, that's where I got that, and somebody's husband made those somewhere, and they were selling them, and I did pay a pretty penny for it, but it has been so worth it. So worth it. It's got a nice little cushion underneath the top, and it fits right on top of those little cubbies. I mean, Miss Sheila had that down like a champ. I mean, she really had it. All right. we are done. I am done cutting those up. So let's get this off of here because it was hot anyways. And again, I apologize. I did not have a chance to get my makeup on. I got my hair washed, and that's why it looks so fluffy. And, but anyways, I know y'all don't mind. Hopefully you'll forgive me. Okay, let's come on over here. So here's what we're going to do. Now, the same thing. You want to make sure that no matter what you do, no matter what you put together, that you put them together exactly the same. So decide which ones you want on top, which ones you want on bottom, because we're going to sew the same sides. And then when it comes time, this is going to get flipped upside down and go on top. Okay? So these are the directions. I decided I'm going to put this one and this one here, this one here. And so we're going to flip this over and stitch that side. And we're going to flip this one over and stitch that side. I am going to pin it so we remind myself, in case for some reason it gets shuffled around, that this is the side I want to stitch on. So I'm going to grab one pin, put it right here. That is my marker. That's what I use the pin for. Okay, so I already know this one I want to put together. Y'all, this class is almost over. We are almost done. Well, this session, not class. It's not class. This is just us having fun stitching together, right? Okay. And nice and smooth. And then I'm going to grab the other one and feed it right in behind the other one. And again, this is string piecing, thread piecing, string. All of a sudden, I cannot think of the name of it. All right, now I'm going to pull my pin out because I'm notorious for running over pins, usually on purpose, because I don't want to take them out. Alrighty. I do recommend ironing this because, again, you want a nice crisp edge. You're going to need to line up some of these real quick. I think my iron started to cool off. Okay, fold that over. How we doing on time? Oh, right on time. Gosh, I can't believe these are actually working up so that they are it takes us 1 hour to get through the whole thing. Okay, so we have both top and bottom. Now, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to flip this upside down. Y'all, I'm a dork. They are on there wrong. You have to forgive me. I swear today is not my day. We are not almost done because I have to take these out. I was not paying attention to myself. I am probably turning 50 shades of red right now. I can feel the heat flooding my face because I got this wrong. That's okay. We always do it, don't we? Ooh, wait, what do we got here? Tiger King. You know, just so I don't miss out. Oh, and the Tiger King. Bits and pieces. Tiger King. You know, I've been hearing about that one. What the heck is that one? And yes, y'all, I use a X-Acto knife. I just kind of tap the thread with it. And as long as my blade is sharp, it will cut and I can pull gently. And if you're really brave, you can just run it down it, but I'm not that brave because I've cut fabric before like that. Okay, I'm sorry. We're fixing to fix this. I am so sorry. Because if you look at the design on the wall, you realize that that is not the way that goes. Okay. I'm not going to worry about pulling those threads out right now. I actually had to look at the book last night to make sure I didn't do it wrong. And that's what I get for thinking I finally got this figured out. Hubris, y'all. Hubris. Just when you think you got it figured out, you realize you don't know as much as you think you know. Okay, so here's the deal. You want to lay this out so that you can see, and I'm going to angle this down. And I knew this going into it, and I should have listened to my brain. But my brain is not working right now anyways. So what we're looking for is we're looking to put a white line straight through here. And to do that, we're going to do this. And again, you're still going to need that pin, so don't go crazy on me yet. Okay, like this. And then the last one goes like this. Okay, so what it's doing is it's creating a line straight through here. And then if you were making this larger, you would have another line that's going to go this way. And then, of course, it'll turn and change. But in the meantime, this is what we're looking for, okay? Not whatever I was just doing. Okay, so here's the time when you want to turn and change and put blocks wherever you think they'll fit best. And I'm thinking it looks pretty good right where it's at. I don't have any problem with the design on that. Okay, so again, flip it over. You know this one's going to go with this one. You know this one's going to go with this one. Pin the one just kind of quickly. Come on, get in there. All right. You know how they, how Jesus said, you know, those without sin cast the first stone. So as far as making a flub like that, anybody that hasn't done that before, go ahead and throw that stone. I'm just messing with you. Okay, so we're gonna put this on here. Y'all are great. Thank you so much for putting up with me. And I hope we're having fun. I know I am. I get to show you how human I am. And anybody that thinks I'm not, they just need to see this video. A little bit of murder and murder for hire. It's a bit outlandish. It sounds interesting. It's a documentary on Netflix. Lots of controversy because of animal rights. Oh. Okay. Yeah, I might have to check that out now. Alrighty. Anything else? What about Stranger Things? Has anybody ever seen that one? I've not watched that. Ooh, how about Downton Abbey? I keep meaning to see that one. Here, let me turn this back up because it's way down there. And I'll get this out of the way. What about Downton Abbey? Has anybody seen that one? I went and saw the, my husband and I have membership to the Asheville, Biltmore. So we went and saw the display that they had up of the Downton Abbey clothing and the sets and everything. And that was so way cool. That was just awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed that. But I'll be honest, I've never seen Downton Abbey. It's just one of those ones where, you know, you're like, okay, I don't really have time to see that one. It's kind of a pick and choose kind of thing. I gotta pick what I can and try not to worry about what I can't. Okay, so let's go ahead and iron this one. And this is where you can either iron the seam open or iron it to one side. Since we've been doing it where we've been ironing everything to one side. Yummy stuff. Yeah, I love strawberries. Kathy, I'm a little late today. We'll watch later. I went to pick strawberries. And the packing house in Palmetto. Have to make. Yes, my sister told me about that. I'm actually supposed to go to her house today and pick up some tomatoes from her. I heard it was because of the COVID virus. They have to shut down production, or they have to shut down, you know, for the health and well-being of at least, I hope that's why they're doing it, the health and well-being of their workers. And absolutely, Kathy, go ahead and watch. That's why I post them on there so that you can come back and look. And although I might delete this one later with all the mistakes I've been making today, definitely my human side today. Okay, now let's see what I did. Hopefully this time I did okay. Okay. I guess either way, it's the same thing, right? Okay, and then this one goes right here. Okay, so once we have the two sections together, can you see it okay? Let me turn it down a little bit. Don't look at my flat. Okay, so once you see we have the two sides together, we're going to flip this and we're going to stitch on this side. So again, grab a hold of it and make sure you have the correct side. And here's where you might actually want to use some pins. I did use pins on the other one just to try to make sure my seams were right. And if you did the 1/4 inch all the way through, and if you, pretty much there's so many and ifs, but
she's having fun out there.
Here's what we got to do. And I am turning, because some of my seams are all in the same direction, so I'm turning them out or in based on that. And then I can always fix that later. So let's go right here. And this one is actually a little bit larger, but we'll just kind of ease that in with the rest of the stitching. Okay, are you following me so far? Do I need to get a little bit closer? Gosh, got me. Again, man, I can't seem to avoid it. Hopefully I'm not bleeding yet. You know, just when you think it's just a poke, you wind up. Is she going somewhere, sweetie?
No.
Okay. Okay. And then one more little section right here. We're just going to make sure that the two seams are together. Pin it down. And this is last night where I chose to go ahead and run over my pins. Not always a safe thing to do. Please know that. Make sure we got it right here. Okay. So one of the things you can do is, instead of running over the pins, which is my habit, my bad habit, stop when you get right up to the pin.
New pads.
Just want to make sure my fabric stayed where it was supposed to. What I'm doing is I'm lifting that bar up so I don't catch the pin, or pull the pin out as far as it'll come without coming out of the fabric, because it will slide underneath the bar. Then you can stop it just before you get on top of it, so you can keep everything right where you want it. Okay, and then making sure all those are in line. We're almost there, guys, I swear. Okay. One quick iron. Okay, so I'm just going to take an iron to it real quick. Hopefully my seams stayed together. They did, thank goodness. I was sweating it. You know, Murphy's Law. Today is definitely my Murphy day. Murphy came to visit, and I think he's camping on my doorstep. Okay, one more. Heartland is a great show. All right, Kathy, I'll check that out too. And yes, yummy strawberries. I do love strawberries. It's one of my favorites. Okay, and here we go. And that should almost match what we have on the wall. Okay, so if you notice, this one is actually going a different direction than the one I have on the wall. No, it's the same thing. Just depends on which way you turn it. Okay, so straight up and down. There you go. All right, does anybody have any questions about this block for today, or any of the blocks we have made in the last couple of days? Not bad, huh? You could turn it this way, or go back this way. All righty. Whew, I can't believe I got that finished. Okay, the next block will be up by 10 o'clock tonight. It seems like 10 o'clock seems to be the magic number for me. So by 10 o'clock tonight, I should have the next cutting instructions up. Hopefully I will have all of mine cut as well. Maybe I'll try cutting them all at the same time, but I like to cut first and then put one together and make sure that all the numbers line up. Like last night they didn't, so I had to turn around and recut. So that was my bad. But okay, real quick. So if you were to take this quilt and do it all with this one right here, this is actually they called this one Scarlet Steps. They did it in red. I guess that's why they call it Scarlet Steps. But this is what the quilt would look like if you did the whole thing. The whole quilt and all of those. So once you start putting it together and going down the line, this one they just went ahead and went straight, diagonal lines all the way through. And I know when you look at this, you're like, oh, I can see that. They did it with they were a lot longer. I had to modify it so that it would fit our 12.5-inch block pattern so that we can put them all together, because we want to put them all together. We may have some that are smaller where we'll do a conglomeration of 3 or 4 to make 12.5, or maybe 24 by 12 and a half, 24.5 by 12 and a half, to make it fit in there. I'm going to look into that just so we can kind of shake it up a little bit, make it a little more interesting. But in the meantime, I hope to see you guys tomorrow, same time, 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern time, for the next block. I'm kind of excited. I've already got it written out how I want it, and I saw a pattern today. I thought, that would be perfect for what we're doing. It would be fun, and it kind of makes a particular pattern a little bit easier to do. It's kind of like, ooh, I didn't know I could do that kind. So anyways, I think it's going to be fun. So by 10 o'clock tonight, again, I will have that next pattern up for you, your cutting instructions, and I will hope to see everybody tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern time. Y'all have a wonderful day. Be safe and take care of you and yours.